Hey everybody, welcome to Homebrew News, a weekly TTRPG news talk show where two people with ADHD talk about TTRPGs, and anytime we get off topic, we have to homebrew our way back on.
What are the Muppets called that heckle?
The heckling Muppets?
The heckling Muppets.
Oh, I always think of them as Marley and Marley. Because I'm a dink.
Chris, if you know, you can answer.
Who's Chris? There's no Chris
There's
here.
no voices in my head.
What are you talking about? Well, welcome to Homebrew News. We're doing TTRPG news talk show. We were talking about that. Oh, I've heard some. Oh, what is that strange voice within the Victorian manner that I've never heard before in my life?
Thank you.
Whoop, there it is. Great. So, we found each other in the endless Victorian house. We walked through it, made our way here, and finally, we've seen each other for the first time in years. Isn't this wild?
Full display.
Yeah, I know. I thought you were a lot prettier in the camera.
Prettier? Oh, okay. I see it
a lot
as
taller. You look like my small Victorian child.
See, I thought that was where you were gonna go with it. Like prettier, maybe. I could get prettier, but I can't get taller. Like there's two. I could get taller.
Could you?
But I feel like that would lean into things that I don't like.
How would you get taller?
Shoes.
Oh, my mic was
Higher
off.
shoes.
Higher shoes?
Yes, but I feel like I can't pull off the like glam rock higher shoe situation, so it just ends up making me more. It feminizes me in ways I do not want.
Yeah. So we've been wandering the wandering the mansion, and yeah. Any recent finds you found?
There's this well.
Oh, there's a well
in the middle of the fourth floor.
The fourth floor.
Occasionally, I go there to cry. And
Does it
last
cry
time
back at you?
last time I did it, like my tears actually came back up and tried to choke me out.
They tried to
which
choke
is a little
you
terrifying,
out?
but it's nothing that we're not already used to here.
That is a metaphor for depression.
Yeah.
But did you go underneath the well? Did it go deeper? Or was it just like shallow unless you were looking through it into the hole?
All I know is Robot Man was there.
Robot Man was in the well? Huh. Yeah, Robot Butler's pretty cool.
I don't like Robot Butler.
You don't like Robot Butler?
No, only Robot Man.
I've never met Robot Man.
You haven't met Robot Man? Oh, there's issues of Doom Patrol kind of thrown around the well.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, that makes more sense. I've been noticing that our Victorian children, I mean, not ours, but the many Victorian children
The
who wander...
autonomous ones that are unrelated to us.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones who wander the space, in general, seem to have been, like, in a bad... bad vibe? Yeah, they're in a bad way recently. They've gotten a lot of, like, pustules and stuff, and I'm not a big fan of that. Usually, I mean, of course, they've had black lung.
Do they need to go to the bathhouse? Because there's a bathhouse floor, too. I went there on Friday.
Oh, I'm afraid of that bathhouse floor.
I understand.
I don't like the faceless blobs
scene, I was gonna say, it's like that scene from Spirited Away where it's just...
Well, I mean, it's mostly faceless blobs that seem to be made out of toilet paper who just hang out in the bathhouse. You would think it'd be a bad idea for them because they'd be very soggy, but they seem to like to be soggy.
Moist.
Yeah, I don't like being moist.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hold on. I hear something. I hear something coming through the door here. Yeah. Oh, it's another one of those endless Victorian. Well, not the endless Victorian. Any of the Victorian children who are coming in. Hey, buddy.
Hello, sis.
How you doing? Ooh.
I'm not feeling altogether well.
Hey, you okay, bud?
My skin's been breaking out.
Can I help you, buddy?
Oh, no.
What's going?
Oh,
It's squooging from him.
happening again.
Oh, what is that? Oh, God. Oh my. Oh, it's forming together into something. It's a. Oh my goodness, it's a Chris Bissette. Chris Bissette, welcome. Welcome to the Endless Victorian house.
Hi.
Hello.
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 Have you been possessing small children and giving them bad acne?
I was just really cold.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
And like, it's warm inside them.
They are warm.
That sounds really wrong out of context.
That does sound horrible out of context, but luckily we know what's going on. I mean, they do spend a lot of time in the fireplaces.
Yeah. Child possession is a very ordinary thing in this home.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that's fine then.
They're good to own. They appreciate and value. What, say that?
I prefer inanimate objects over children, but that's only because...
I mean, if you do what I just did to that child, they become inanimate.
True.
He is just sort of standing there.
Yeah.
Like a
Best of
porcelain
both
doll.
worlds.
Is he gonna go away?
Nah, he's just there.
Okay. Good to know.
That's
Hollow
the thing that
eyes.
we deal with now.
Yeah. Well, now we have a hollow Victorian child
The lawful
in our
neutral
room.
wants to know if the well is wretched.
The well is kind of the wretched. So
Yes.
speaking of, Chris, thank you for joining us. You make wonderful games, most famous for your solo role-playing games, specifically The Wretched, which came out last year. Yes.
What is fame?
Fame. Fame is a means through which we perpetuate money.
Yes. Correct.
Ability to pay. Thing.
Absolutely. Yes. Would you like to? So, let's go back. I always forget to open up my notes until the guest is already here and waiting.
But you made notes, and that's more than I did.
It's true. They're not amazing notes, but they're notes, and they help me remember.
Amazing notes.
Yeah.
They're-
They're literally for
One
me.
of them was one line, and I'm not even sure it's a word. Some things are crossed
How many of them are
out.
just
Yeah.
like a word with a question mark next to them?
Yeah.
There's lines and veils. There's basic notes. There's...
It's mostly that, and the notes about our conversation.
Yeah.
There was a small Victorian child that I had a conversation with earlier this week that I assumed. I just got a feeling that there was someone else inside of them, and I sort of
Yeah.
sussed out the feeling. So
It's amazing how often that happens.
yeah, Victorian children seem to just constantly have someone else projecting through them. I have to be very particular in the way I phrase that phrase.
No, I just started thinking of Dickens in a totally different context, but that's
Oh, yeah.
just how oftentimes the voice of being all the children working the minds, and how who knows what the kids would say if they could read.
Oh yeah, who knows what the kids could say.
Charles Dickens.
So
How would they feel about how they were represented?
yeah, let's talk about. I'd love to talk about Wretched later, but let's talk about what your current project is.
I thought you were going to say the representation of Victorian children.
In your
Charles
current
Dickens
project,
lines.
we're going to talk about the representation of Victorian children in your current project.
Yeah.
Down in Yongardy, which I was mispronouncing for weeks because I have dyslexia. So please tell us about your game.
Yeah. Shit, I need to do that.
Yeah. If you need help, I
It's
can jump you off. That's
just
fine
do
too.
it.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, I love goofing.
Don't worry. Down in Yongardy is a solo-troika adventure game book. I keep using the phrase choose your own adventure book, but that's a trademark and I will get sued if I keep saying choose your own adventure book. So, oh yeah. They're litigious as
own way.
fuck. Yeah, choose your path. It's
Yeah.
a branching paths novel set in the world of Troika about being a Yongardy lawyer. In Troika, Yongardy lawyers fight their cases with swords. So you're a newly qualified Yongardy lawyer and you fight your first case, you kill someone who should not have been killed, and you go on the run to clear your own name.
Oh, there's a weird echo.
It's Troika by way of Kafka's The Trial.
I appreciate that. Are there
Someone does, finally.
hence or my earlier reference would probably indicate an appreciation of that. Where's your slightly related, where's your favorite place to read Kafka and then cry? Because I prefer
On
the
the shore.
isolation of airplanes.
The answer is on the shore, because that's also a Murakami reference.
Yes.
Oh, Kafka on the shore. Very good, very good, very good.
Who do you think would win in an arm wrestle, Murakami or Kafka?
Kafka, come on.
Oh yeah, of course.
But by tricks alone, because just depending on how, I think of their endurance as their protagonist,
Okay.
and I feel like Murakami would survive only because of the
Murakami has a-
longing.
Murakami has an army of slightly magical cats at his disposal.
Yes.
And Kafka just has bureaucracy and a cockroach that can't get off its back. So, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah,
Murakami might.
Cat versus cockroach.
That
versus
I
roach.
would watch.
I do occasionally. New York City has a pest problem occasionally, and I have 2 cats. Gonna start just shouting, be like, Murakami, you can make it! And
Every
Myers
cat
is
is
like,
called
that's
Murakami.
not my name.
Wind up cat. The Wind Up Cat Chronicles.
It mostly gets in a Junji Ito kind of direction with the
Oh
cats. No, but that was definitely a huge appeal when I jumped on to read what it was about. I was like, oh, that's great. That's a great idea, Chris. Just run into it.
Leaning heavily into it.
Have you had any fun comments on the Kickstarter or personally in relation to your theming?
No, actually, they've been very boring, and we have 46 hours left, so feel free to go and leave really bad shit, weird comments. That would be like
you
just
hear that?
The strangest shit.
Why did you choose Troika?
I love it. It's really fun. I like playing it a lot. And I started writing this when I had a weekend away last year. I went and, like, height of the pandemic, I rented a cottage and went and sat in it for a weekend to get away from, like, the world. And I took the trial with me and a ton of fighting fantasy books. And I also took Troika with me by accident because it was in my bag. And just they went like this in my brain.
I understand that.
And then I started writing it. Yeah.
I'm a little terrified of the combination of books I'm currently reading and what might happen with those. But
It's pretty dangerous.
I support that. Do you have one of your favorite moments when you've played or ran Troika that really highlighted why the system would work really well for the narrative choices that you've made with the supplement?
I mean, the reason the system works well, honestly, is because it's a hack of Advanced Fighting Fantasy, which came out of the Fighting Fantasy books. So it's kind of like taking it back to basics. But there's something about the tone of Troika that lends itself really well to both like madcap fantasy, adventure, and violent, dark, horrible stuff. Like I ran Rock Black Sludge, the introductory adventure from Mugborg in Troika.
Oh, fun.
So I ran that, and we had a character who was covered in keys, and we had a character who was a witch hunter. And at the beginning of Rock Black Sludge, you get given a prophecy by a fortune teller that tells you like some rumors about the dungeon of Rock Black Sludge. And the witch hunter decided that this woman was clearly a witch, and set her hut on fire. And then things descended from there, and it was just a really nice combination of bright and colourful Troika weirdness with horrible violence that really appealed to me.
No, I wasn't fishing for an answer, but that answer definitely is why I like choosing Troika a lot of the time.
Yeah, Troika has such a specific vibe.
It's just
nothing else really captures at all. It's not even close. Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, we played a on stream at one point, like a year ago. We played a Twin Peaks Troika adventure.
excellent.
What's up, Vic? You feel like you have things to say?
No, I can't speak ill of the dead.
Oh, well, I mean, Carter just wandered out into the endless void. Maybe we'll see them again sometime.
No, I was thinking back to your birthday and the extended conversation that happened about both of you trying to do a Laura Palmer dance piece, but that is unrelated to anything else.
Maybe I'll write Laura Palmer as a Troika background.
Ooh, that could be fun.
That could be fun.
Any highlights specifically inside of your supplement that you're really excited for people to uncover? Especially in 48 hours.
I haven't written it yet. It's the big secret that isn't a secret.
What about in the inside of your brain? Lie.
I have a world of bears that I'm excited to explore.
Bears. What kind of bears?
Bears, yeah. Big, furry, honey-eating, axe-wielding bears.
If you were to give 3 of them names right now that will be changed in the future, what would those names be?
Rolandra Marmalade, Alessandro Honeypaws, and Roland.
Roland.
Just Roland with a full stop at the end.
I had something there, but then it disappeared because I just had my friends, all the Rolands, just roll into my head, and then it infiltrated my ability to be sensical or nonsensical.
Yeah, fair.
What is your favorite piece of magical realism that can be influenced or used or you regularly mine for games? Because this isn't the first time that you've explored some of these themes. Like, I really enjoyed Troll King because it has a little bit more than just the black metal edge. It has a little bit more of everything in there, and you can tell and you can read it in. Sorry, I keep asking the very Vic-centered questions. I'm usually more game design, game things, but it's a salesman.
Game design.
So I don't have to be like, hey, why'd you choose this particular thing? Because we can actually explore the more narrative construction in this, and that makes me happy.
I'm a big, and I'm going to murder this pronunciation because I'm British and that's what we do. I'm a big Borges fan, and I really want to write some like Library of Babel inspired shit at some point. I'm going to mine that for stuff. I have a big idea that I don't know how it's going to work yet, but it's kind of, you know, when something's just like happening up
Let's
here
help
and
a
you have to
little
not
bit.
look at it too closely.
What would you, off the top of your head, what's the first few things that come to mind with that? That doesn't have to be sentient, doesn't have to really have legs.
Choose your own adventure kind of style book, but about exploring the infinite rooms of the Library of Babel using PBTA moves. And you start with one move that lets you move forward one page in the book, and as you go throughout the book you unlock new moves. And I want to hide other moves in the book, like if you pull the cover off it, maybe there's a move written underneath the cover or something. I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
that's
I
a
want
lot
to
of
get
fun.
weird. I want to get into like the physicality of a book.
My background is in bookmaking and screen printing. So a lot
nice.
of my favorite things to do is how can I make this an innovative design that also speaks to the medium itself? And one of my favorite things is blue light and all sorts of things that bring up hidden things underneath the layers and finding ways to use UV just paints to really get things going.
My background is in fiction, but like experimental fiction, stuff like B.S. Johnson's like Book in a Box, and like weird shit with books formatted to read like Mobius strips and stuff. And I want to like get back to that kind of shit.
It's really funny, or I at least anecdotally can say, it's funny how game design came about for me, because there were so many things that I wanted to hit in the immediate medium that I was working in that I'm able to hit in games that I couldn't hit in any sort of way. Like when I was making comics all the time, I was just like, I'm missing something. There's an interactivity that isn't getting that box or fully hitting that. And so when games started to come around, I was like, when I say games started coming around, I always played them, but when I started to actually play around with mechanics, I was like, oh, this is really filling. This is also very difficult to have this conversation while somebody is very much viciously working right next to me. But but is there one component that you feel as though the medium of game design has allowed you an opportunity to fulfill more so than the traditional media that you started out with?
I'm super interested in emergent narrative and non-linear story structures, and like that's games.
This one is in different kinds of ways. I've been hoping they could be present for parts of this because their writing is very similar. I'm definitely more of a second person. Like most of my published work goes in just like a fun second person crazy lane. So it's already similar. But Zeke, do you want to maybe... Here's a baton.
I'm lost. I would like to catch that baton, but I was trying to fix technical problems, and I believe they're all suited now. Sorry about that.
Do you feel like you're a little closer to getting closer to scratching that itch at the moment, Chris?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'm having the urge to go back to fiction now rather than games, but
That
like
makes sense.
take all the shit I've been doing in games and like feed that back into the fiction.
I mean, this is sort of a step towards it, right? Because you're more of writing a paperback book. I like. So in your Kickstarter, you described the fact that you want it to be specifically like a paperback book that you can fit into your back pocket. Just like you when you were a kid, which I really, that hits a specific type of nostalgia that I really like.
You mean the nostalgia of pretending you're Belle from Beauty and the Beast and walking down the street holding a book in your hand?
You mean
and
I
singing
still do?
While all the birds come out? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm covered in birds. I'm always covered in birds.
I am like 100% that dickhead with a Paul Auster book in my back pocket at all times. So like, you know.
Yeah, I used to love. I had perfected the walking in between classrooms while holding a book in front of my face in crowded hallways.
Do you know what bugs me? It's people get really mad when you walk with a book down the street, but nobody gets mad when you walk with a phone down the street.
No one cares. Yeah, but they're always like, look where you're going. And it's like, I am.
You fucking look up. You look up.
You look up. Get out of here.
Dickhead. Read a book.
I like the idea of someone. I really love the childish response of you. Like, because someone's looking you right in the eye saying, look up. You're like, you look up.
No, but the complex and the argument I have for that is the contrast of rich inner world versus need for immediate interactivity and social engagement. Because if you're playing on your phone, you're clearly interacting with the external world and suffering the blows of all of it. If you're reading a book, you're having a rich inner life walking down the street. And that's what pisses them off. They're like, you're not allowed to have that. You have to be mad at Twitter right now. I'm not mad.
Stop being threatened by my rich inner life.
Ooh, that's a good. Can I get a t-shirt? That's a good t-shirt.
I'd have that on a t-shirt.
That's a good. I mean, that's a tattoo.
Figure out the graphic for it right now. It's like, I think it has to be type design because I can't come up with an image that is like neutral enough for it to like work for every scenario. So it would have to just be letters. Oh God. But then I go back into my, how do I make this crummy, horrible, unreadable death metal letters?
Yeah, I mean, that's also good. A death metal t-shirt that you can barely read that says, please stop being threatened by my rich inner life. Yeah, it's like a death metal shirt.
One of my
logo.
Jonathan Orr will buy it.
Had one that said, ask me about my anime waifu. It was all... Like, why did you make this?
Excellent. Adam Vass of World Champ Games Company has a really cool technique for doing death metal logos.
Ooh.
Where they get a picture of a tree that's lost all its leaves and just find letter shapes in the branches, and then that becomes the logo.
Love it.
It's great. It's so good.
That brought me much joy.
That's actually, I used to draw that way in high school. I would like draw trees and then make like drippy connections between them to write out names and shit. I didn't even listen to metal. I was just sad.
Just like the aesthetic, drawing Slipknot logos.
Honestly,
everywhere.
I think that was healthier.
No.
I feel like you've gained years on your life by not actively doing that. As somebody who's been in a horrible band for like 3 years and then left, I'm like, I think you have more life than I do just by avoiding metal. In general.
No, it was all musical theater. It's worse. It's like it's all the soul-crushing angst and destruction, but with a smile on its face. It's a lot of self-hatred, but you tap dance while you do it.
Have you seen Horse the Band?
No. Horse the Band?
That's all Horse the Band is.
It's called Horse the Band?
Yep.
Oh my god, what a sick name!
Early MySpace metalcore, like especially like heavy low and bands like that are exactly what you just described.
Oh, I feel really bad because I really wish that was the name of this show now instead of Homebrew, it's just called Horse the Show or something stupid like that. Like just an object the show. And then I feel like
there's
infinite.
a Reddit-based band. I don't know if they're still going, but they're called Verb the Noun because so many bands have that construction.
God.
Oh yeah, also great.
Also, talk about your name generator, Chris.
Sure,
Your
please.
adventure generator.
Oh my god, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that made me realize you had that. I'm just like in my brain, I'm like, what has Chris made in the last?
Yeah.
Read like
God, the Adventure Jam's still running until the end of January. And it's only running until the end of January because I haven't written an adventure for it yet, so I keep pushing the date back.
I understand.
Yeah. But Matt Sanders of Sealed Library and I were talking about how adventure titles are really boring. They're always like the place of the person, the dark thing of the place or whatever. And I decided to write a name generator that made more fun names.
I think everything should be a joke.
Do you have an example
again?
Of a few of those names?
Everything should be a joke.
Can I find my name generator?
I don't know. Was Treasures of the Troll King one of those? Speaking of which,
Treasures of the Troll King was
just a Chris Bissette original.
What's my name generator?
I don't.
Okay, the first one, my name generator.
It looks really good on stream, so I'm still holding it up because it's very pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. more Johan. Wait, for some reason said Jonathan. I'm stupid. Johan Nor earlier.
You didn't say Jonathan.
I said
earlier.
Jonathan
Nobody
earlier.
needed to know that.
I just sometimes
What's
I
the secret?
listen back to our podcast and my ADHD just
Do we have a
makes-
podcast? This is recorded? I thought it disappeared once we were done and nobody had to hear it
Sometimes.
ever
It's
again
just
unless
me,
it was
like
an interview.
thoughts.
I listen back to them and cry about my weird ADHD brain, which will just throw out random words or just not right in the sentence, just incorrect.
You gotta assault it head on. You can't pull the ADHD in front of it. You just have to admit it's your brain, and
It's
then
my
that's where
garbage brain.
acceptance comes from.
But I
That's why I
have,
don't listen to any of my appearances back ever.
Yeah, whenever we were
refuse.
oh, Brandon, we have a
Good morning,
BLG.
Brandon.
Good morning.
BLG,
Good morning.
Yeah.
the notorious BLG.
Notorious. But
You're gonna get that
I
thought out,
didn't
buddy?
realize that so when we were prepping for all this, I read The Wretched. I'm doing an actual play of that on our Twitter right now, which is a weird place to do an actual play. Please support. Retweet, friends. But I forgot that I had read multiple of your things beforehand because Vic had backed the Treasures of the Troll King quite heavily.
Oh, thank you.
In retaliation for seeing somebody complain about shipping cost outside of the UK, I was just like, you know what, fuck you, man.
Fuck you, give all my money, Chris.
I whined about. I was like, no, you know what you're getting.
Also, I didn't admire this before, but the printing on both your pamphlet and your zine is awesome. It's stunning. It's really good.
It's Mixum.
Paper's-
Mixum UK apparently is just really good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. If we're to print anything in the UK, like we print anything, Mixum, absolutely freaking ridiculous.
I just panicked in
As an example
printing
of
shortage
what
again. It affects my life in every single way, especially financially.
What half my zines look like because I sometimes can't afford a printed copy.
My
I
back
printed
got
out The
stressed.
Wretched
I need to calm down.
so I could do the actual play and
I
not
love
flip
the
to my
hand. I
phone.
love seeing home printed copies of The Wretched.
Yeah, I
That's really
taped it.
fun.
It's taped together. It's like a
Excellent.
bunch of taped together paper. But yeah, there's a big difference between I don't know. Vic, you used to do zine production. These are beautiful, correct?
The only reason I don't do zine production is the SBA library won't let me in for free anymore.
Dicks.
And
Oh, goddamn them.
I just want them to give me
They
free
have your
access to their
tuition.
print lab. And
It's not free when you pay tuition.
no, but what's not free is me trying to use their entire printing lab for free. I've done
be
it.
free.
I used to do it as a student.
That's what I did at uni when I was 18. That's how I got into making zines, was using my university library print
God.
room for free.
My library had the worst one. Print. Everything's garbage. You had to pay 10 cents for a piece of paper you could see through. Terrible. Their actual I respect librarians deeply. Their layout
My best friend's
sucked.
librarian.
It was
He
terrible.
sucks.
It was so bad. We're entirely a theater school. The people who are the theater historians in the space, they have other things. They have a journalism major, which bless them, and a engineering major, bless them. But they
Why would you go to a dance school for engineering?
I don't know. I mean, they're a university, but it's mostly a dance and musical theater school. But they
Going to SVA.
no
for
offense to anybody who got
physics.
I mean, this is offensive. I can't take that back. If you got a degree there for engineering, I'm sorry. But we had the first folio copies of Shakespeare, which cost multiple hundreds of dollars for some reason to get printed out. Or at least they used to. They're probably cheap now. But we had those. The theater historians, no one knew about it. No one knew. I found them and held them up and took a picture and posted it on Facebook. And the teachers who I was who taught theater were like, "Where the fuck is that? We have that at the school?" And I was like, "Yeah, man. It's in the library." I just think that's hilarious. Sometimes that happens in the Victorian house. We melt sometimes. It's just temporary. It just hurts very intensely for like a split millisecond.
Mm-hmm. And then it's done. And
That's fine. Yeah. You get used to it over time. But I want to bring up, so you're constructing a choose your own adventure.
Yes.
Please, how? I've always wanted to do that. It boggles my mind from like when I was young, when I did the R.L. Stine, I think like choose your own scare books. Same, I was always confused as to how that functions. Please explain.
I am looking to see if my notebook is within arm's reach, but I don't think it is. Everyone I've spoken to about this since I started writing it, because I know a few people who like write these things professionally, and they've all been like, you should write it with this program, you should use this website. And I'm sure they're right. But I'm not, because I didn't start doing it that way.
Yeah.
And my brain is a bastard to me. So it's just a lot of flowcharts. It's a ton of flowcharts. I've broken it down into like 4 broad sections, like the preview section, and then 3 paths through the book from the preview section. And then I've broken them down into chapters, and the chapters down into scenes, and each scene down into a numbered paragraph. And I have flowcharts that link them all together. And it's like a huge novel outline with numbers. And then I'm just going to go through and write each paragraph.
Have you, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was wondering, how do you figure out what page you're going to put that shit on? Like, sometimes an ending would be on page 2 that is triggered from, like,
I feel like you can't worry about that until the end, Zeke.
You're right. I just think it's...
You screw yourself over so often.
With the preview section, I named them all like section 1A, section 1B, and then went through and just put numbers in afterwards and kind of shuffled them. I used a spreadsheet, and I put all the preview sections in, and then I generated random numbers and shuffled them and was like, that's the paragraph number. But that won't work for like 400 paragraphs, because that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, where I have a list of numbers, and every time I write a new paragraph, I pick a number at random off the list, and that's the number. Except for the ones where I've got like a puzzle that relies on the paragraph number or whatever, and then I just know what number that has to be.
So you're gonna have meta puzzles about the paragraph number as well. Oh, you bitch.
Yeah.
You bitch. Yeah. I love it.
It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, that sounds wonderful.
It's a lot of work. I don't know if I'll ever do it again, but I'll be very happy that I did it.
I enjoyed MUDs as a child.
A
little too much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
What? I like MUDs.
Which modes did you play?
There was this really horrible site that I will not disclose that I think I spent most of my time on. But then it's also how I learned how to code, so we'd share them with our friends. So it'd be like 10 kids and probably 3 40-year-olds, honestly. And we were in a email/chain where we'd send them and we'd test them out with each other.
Nice.
Because parents being like, hey, you're not allowed to do that. Be online with strangers at certain times. I'm like, I am 10 years old. I know how to use email. I'll just use it on email with my friends.
I'll just use email. It'll be fine. I love how we all grew up in an era of like, don't give anyone on the internet your real name. And now we live in a world where we all have our real names online. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
I kind of like it, but I also am kind of like, no, now everybody knows my sadness every day.
Well, what have people done?
I wish I had a pen name. I wish I'd picked a pen name 13 years ago when I joined Twitter.
Oh, yeah. What would people have done with our names in the 90s? Like,
I don't know.
You couldn't even search. How would you find me?
No.
I have a fairly unique name, but like...
Oh, I don't think about that. I think about other things.
What?
I think about when we were in that comic shop the other day and how me and the owner had the whole conversation about a certain friend of mine and shit-talking a certain friend of mine in the early 2000s. That's what I think of when I think of like internet and like before the internet and functional, like, how do you know this person? What is this person's reputation? It's, oh, this person walked in and told me that they were never going to fulfill an order for this particular thing. Turns out that book never got printed, and it's going to get reprinted in 2 years. But remember that guy's whole conversation?
Yeah. But what is the fear of having someone's name?
No.
So that you could shit talk them online.
Yes.
I see.
So what I'm saying is it's a communal forum of, oh, yes.
I get you.
It was happening before the internet. Now the internet just makes it easier to do.
Now the internet makes everyone a part of it.
That's your secret Twitter, is what that is. That's the one you go on to shit talk all your friends.
What do I need
don't have one of those.
inspiration for, John?
I don't.
Am I struggling, John? John, what do I need inspiration for? I see giving inspiration to Vic because they need it. What do I need it for?
The empty coffee cups we both have.
What do I need it for, John? What do I need it for?
Yeah. Let's printing fears, that's what it is. Yeah. Nope, made that one. Great.
Sorry, that was such a useless anecdote.
No, I enjoyed it.
Oh, yes. I want to talk about how you're spending your spare time, because I think you two will go off on a little journey.
What
Chris,
journey?
you told me that you have recently acquired the small Victorian child that I assumed was you whispered into my ear while I was sleeping that you were you've picked up a new hobby.
Oh no.
Yeah, I have.
Would you like
It's
to talk
a couple actually, but I think I know which one the Victorian child mentioned.
Oh, what was it?
I've got into making model robots, and I know nothing about them.
I didn't realize that there was this hobby.
Yeah. I've got into Gunpla, and I know fucking nothing about it, and I intend to stay that way. One of my friends was like,
I'm
"Yeah,
not saying anything then.
it's one small step from making robots to watching all of Gundam Wing," and I was like, "Not gonna happen."
See, Zeke, there's no conversation that can be had now because Chris has totally boxed me out of the conversation.
No. It's adding you in. You now have a goal.
No, Chris gave
Convert
me permission to not talk about it, and that was lovely.
Convert Chris to the Gundam.
We don't talk. There's there was a horrible meme shared in our Discord that was vulgar at best, but it is just a guy. He does blank, and then he's back to making the Gundams. Me. I had friends in high school, but I also was very anxious in high school, so I was like, you know what? I'll just use tweezers to calm myself down. Tweezers and little tiny mechs. Because that's all I'm good for. But yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to build model airplanes, and I enjoyed it, but then you had to paint them, and I suck at painting things, so I'm enjoying not having to paint the Gunpla stuff.
There's also this psychological response of, oh, I painted this myself. I did it myself, even if you didn't paint it at all and you just spent time putting it together, because your brain doesn't understand that. You made it.
I made this. I put those little stickers on. Those little stickers are a pain in my ass.
They are.
Yeah.
It's a procedural. You get those little tiny glasses, and then you get a whole table, and you make sure all the lights are there, and you individually. It becomes the game of Operation.
So my brain did this really weird thing, which you may empathize with, where it was really fun and I was really focused on it until I had to make the second leg, and my brain went, "Oh, you've done this already. Now it's hard."
Yep.
Now I don't care about it. And so for the last half an hour, I had to fight my brain to finish it because I'd already done that bit.
I understand that. There's also the reason why I use the game Operation as a reference is the little buzzy, you've done this wrong, is what happens as soon as you have to mirror something.
I was thinking if you let the glue sit too long and then you touch the sides and you don't get it quite right.
The other fun thing is you don't have to glue them.
Yours are snap ones.
Yeah, snap ones. Yeah,
snap day ones.
Because I love myself. I don't hate myself. That's not a lie. That's not true.
We have to.
I don't hate that was a lie.
We have to regularly talk me out of funding that hobby again. It's a bit of a I have to be talked off the ledge regularly.
I've limited myself to one model a month. Well, no, I told myself I was limiting myself to one model a month. I've bought 2 this month.
But did you need them? Did you need the extra one this month?
No.
Emotionally?
Emotionally.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
Be nice
It's
to
fine.
yourself.
It's fine. Games paid for it, and therefore,
Games
Therefore,
for
it's not
games.
real money.
yeah, it's fine. It's how we stay poor. Is we get paid for games and then we buy games.
Yes. Wow, that hit hard. Looking at my stack of RPGs and my entire bookshelf full of RPGs.
It's fine. They're a business expense now.
I'll just sell them.
I can write it off. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But the circular thing is you're then continuing to just support the community rather than the evil overlords.
Ah.
But in Chris's case, they're currently supporting the evil older lords that are Mech Daddy.
Mech Daddy?
Yeah,
The Mech Daddy Overlord.
I refuse to look into the ethics of Bandai
You know, it's
Namco,
just because
basically.
of jealousy, right? Chris, the only reason
I understand.
Okay.
I understand.
Like, it's not against you, it's the fact that I'm just like, I would do that, but
Just
I've
know that-
stopped myself.
Just know that I'm going to say February at the latest, I will have a pile of unopened robots in boxes that I haven't made.
Oh, when
and
the
I will no longer
executive
care about
function
it.
hits.
Yeah, I won't care about it anymore. They'll be in a pile. I will have forgotten they exist, and I'll be on to another hobby. It'll be fine.
I'm not looking at my shelf for that reason at all. No, it's half comics, half games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got a few fiction books on there. That's in
No,
the other library.
The books are in the other library.
Yeah.
Where they can't hurt us.
That's what they tell you, anyway.
No, I've started reading memoirs.
Ah,
So I'd be I'm scared of seeing what happens next.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, they're never good. It's never good what happens in a memoir.
No, it's always sad, and it always brings up your own sad, and you're like, why are you doing this to me? I'm trying to be good. No. Chris, what other secrets do you want us to focus on or tell us?
Yeah. What secrets do you have? What can you share with the house?
Oh God, so many secrets, so little time. I don't know. I feel like I'm a very boring person. People say,
Boring?
"Tell me about yourself," and I go,
Oh, I'm not asking about you. We've talked plenty about you.
Oh, cool.
It's the
Tell
things
us about
that
everyone
we
else.
create to make ourselves more interesting.
Yes.
I hate how true that is for myself.
"So true."
Also, like,
true.
if you don't want to talk about you anymore, you can also talk about everybody you love and respect.
Oh, yeah. We could
That's
talk
true.
about, there's a Kickstarter, I believe you wanted to chat about, right?
Probably.
Roach God?
Oh God, Roach God is in its
Yeah.
last 48 hours. Yeah,
Mhm.
Reach of the Roach God by
Oh,
Zedek,
yeah,
whose
yeah.
surname I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce because it's Malaysian. It's only 4 letters, but I feel like I get it wrong, and so I won't, out of respect. But Reach of the Roach God is part of the Thousand Islands, which is the system neutral tabletop RPG campaign that's inspired by like the caves of Southeast Asia, and it's like Thousand Islands is amazing. It's just this, I think there's 10 or 11, maybe more zines, all with a different piece of the setting and a different, like, some have got adventures in and some have got setting elements in. I bought them from Malaysia because you couldn't get them over here when I bought them without buying them direct from Zedek. And it got shipped to Canada by accident. The postal service decided that my address was in Canada. Anyway, it took like 6 months for the books to get to me, but it was totally worth the wait. But they're kickstarting Reach of the Roach God now, which is a full like RPG campaign set in the deep places of the earth. And it's the first like full-length adventure book from Thousand Islands, and the illustrations are beautiful. ZX writing is like the best in the industry.
Hal, you chose your artist for the
Yes.
for Yongardy.
Yeah, Rowan. So a friend of mine introduced me to him.
Rowan?
Yeah.
I have no idea who that is. But that sounded like sarcasm.
Yeah, we know who that is.
Rowan's is a potential like person that comes on the show. So
Cool.
like as a third to this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Or I did know that and I've forgotten, which is always a possibility. A friend introduced us. John. Last name gone out of my head.
John
Sorry.
Gregory?
John Gregory.
Oh,
John Gregory.
John Gregory's in chat.
John! Stop!
We were looking
John
for a
is just-
plug, John.
Shout out to
I'm
John.
even
Shout out to
happier
John.
that I
He's the
just
best.
forgot
For
his
just
last
being a
name while he's sitting in chat.
positive, sweet human being forever. And never ever a negative plug. I did not mean that in any negative way. John is such a wonderful cheerleader to all of his
Yes.
friends, and yes.
I'm so happy I forgot his name while he's sitting in chat. That's the
No,
best thing that's happened to me today.
no.
That's totally fine.
No, we're good.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, he literally just was like, I think I was planning another project for Zine Quest that never happened, which was going to be a hex shaped zines that were going to fall. Each zine was going to be one hex of a hex crawl, and you were going to put them on the table as a big hex map and open up the zines.
Oh, cool.
And it never
That's pretty
happened.
sick.
But John was like, I've been working with Rowan and his art's amazing and you should get in touch. And I did. And then the project never happened. And then when I was starting to do Yongardy, I was like, I sort of owe Rowan some work because the project we were going to do never happened. So,
Story of my
hey,
life.
do you want to draw some shit for Troika? And he was like, yeah.
Also, I say that, and
Yeah.
I don't mean to call out anyone when I said that, by the way. Story of my life in a positive way. I know everybody wants to do things. It's not negative, I swear. I love you all.
Also, the cover of Yongardy has some robot looking barristers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, is that connected to your recent obsession with robots at the moment?
No, that's a happy accident. We did the cover art like nearly a year ago, and it just turned out looking a bit like a robot. And now I like robots. Maybe it's his fault. Maybe when I'm bankrupt in a month because I bought all the robots, I can be like, "Yo, Rowan, this was your doing."
Buy my lunch, Rowan. This is your fault.
Let's see if Rowan can just
You showed
come
me a
on next
robot
week
a year
for a
ago, and
rebuttal.
look where I am.
You are the robot now.
Oh god.
There was
No,
an
this small Victorian
excellent
child's the robot now.
exhibit at I can't remember what museum it was, but it was Ghost in the Shell, and it had blood oranges, Eastern sports, and it was just a series of art installations that explored Ghost in the Shell theming. It was excellent, unrelated to everything. But if you ever want to Google old art exhibits that were fun with just mechs and everything, that was an excellent. I'm gonna stop talking.
That sounds awesome. I didn't. Yeah, I probably want to take a look at that. That sounds cool. Were they installations or were they like paintings?
One of them was a massive installation that had 4 projection screens. That was the one that Blood Orange did the music for, and they had a bunch of I think it was oranges in the middle of it, and it was just like a AstroTurf floor and 4 projectors. Just it was great.
That sounds awesome.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was Dev Hayes for the credit for it. It wasn't Blood Orange for that particular thing because it was just his regular artwork that he tends to do. But
Cool.
gotta love.
Is it weird that I still picture whenever someone says blood orange, an orange full of blood, not a blood orange?
Is it strange that I'm struggling with focusing because we're in the same frame, and I worry that Chris is like, where did that come from? That came out of left field. Well, no. This is just, yeah.
No, we're talking about Gundams, and you brought up a Ghost in Shell thing. They've got some robots.
Shinji, it's your mom.
Get in your mouth. Sorry. Get in the Ava,
Blood Orange
Shinji,
is
who's also made
the
out of
guy
your
that
mouth.
was in Test Icicles, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cool.
I believe so. Pretty sure he was.
Yeah.
I'm used to his
Nice.
solo work. Dev.
Yeah, I saw Test Icicles. They were fucking great.
Time for homebrew. What are we
That's
gonna?
the end of that story.
Oh, we went off topic.
John, do you want to come on next week and tell us what to do all week? John, is that what's going on?
Well, we have a different John coming on
What do
next
you want to
week.
homebrew? What do
No,
you
the
want
week
to
after.
homebrew?
We're
What do you wanna
homebrewing.
homebrew?
We just homebrew. We have to homebrew because we went off topic. We're talking about Gundams now.
So we have to homebrew what happens
Either making
to
the
Chris.
miniatures, or maybe we homebrew a game about the obsession with a small hobby you can't escape. That eventually you have to balance the financial gain you make and the joy you get out of it. But every time you do it, you get slightly less joy. So you have to do more and more, and you become more and more obsessed with it.
That sounds far too real.
So you're like buying it, like trying to very hard to work, and then it becomes like, am I working for the hobby, or am I the or is the hobby?
Are you trying to hurt us?
Like,
Zeke, are you, as the one that's safe from this, are you trying to do harm?
No, this is my whole life. I've never tried to monetize a hobby. You don't understand. That's like always been
Never ever.
Never.
every
Even
time
when
I get a
tell
hobby, I
myself
try to.
I'm not going to monetize this hobby. A week later, I'm like, how can I monetize this hobby?
Yeah,
I need
it's
human
just
contact
it's
on
horrible.
next to Zeke.
Have you ever played or read My Brain is a Stick of Butter by Adam Bell?
No.
Which is it's a solo game about living a week with ADHD and how hard it is to balance all the tasks that life expects you to do. And
Yeah.
Adam says it takes about 20 minutes to play, but I physically could not play it because it was too real. I had to put it down.
I'm still waiting for Adam's video of exploring all game types. And the
His videos
stress
are
that
so
happened. The stress that happened in the Brain Trust Discord related.
I can't wait to watch it. That sounds wonderful.
Who knows? It might happen soon. It might happen later. Either way, it's hurt Adam.
Aww. Bean. We still have to homebrew a game. I just described a game that wasn't a game. That was just real life.
Yeah, you just described everybody's lived experience in it.
Different game then, because that's not going to work, because we don't want to play that.
It's a lyric game. You read that,
Yeah.
you sit there, you think about that, and that's the game.
And you weep. And you weep.
Yeah, there you go. It's a one-word lyric game, sort of like We Are But Worms, and it's just the word weep on a picture of a load of stuff.
Is that a game? It sounds wonderful.
We Are But Worms is a game about being a worm. It's a one-word game. I'm not going to tell you what the word is. You should go and buy it.
I gotta go buy it. Okay, we can make a wretched hack about spiraling out of control with with a hobby. I'd enjoy that. You're balancing. Yeah, every time you put it there, you have to build another model.
Throw a Jenga tower on it. That's games. There we go.
Throw a Jenga tower on.
My back has tightened up so much this entire time because of the paper shortage and then the monetizing hobbies.
Well, no, we're monetizing our spiral of monetizing hobbies. That's the whole idea. So we have to make a game out of it. Meta. Actually, I kind of like this idea. I feel like it would sell a lot among literally just the game creating community, and that's it. The only people who want to play that game.
We don't want to play it. We're already playing it, so we might as well gamify it. In the Sisyphean cycle of what we're dealing with.
It's a lot of questions that really get to the heart of your shit. You're like, fuck, this is the therapy for me right now.
Find a way of just voluntarily releasing.
When the Jenga falls, you were released from the toil of creating hobby games, of monetizing your hobbies.
Sorry,
you're like, fuck this hobby, and you just step away, and you're like, wow, I'm actually maybe slightly lighter now.
How did you break this keyboard? Is it related to the conversation?
Yes.
To monetize it.
But okay, so. Yeah, so you're stacking. When do you pull from the Jenga tower in this? Constantly. Is it every time? Is it? I know the wretched is more like slow dissolving of hope and being like, you're not gonna make it, buddy. Good luck. It's nearly
like a
impossible.
reverse wretched game where you build the Jenga tower?
Brick by brick.
So like you roll a die to tell you which way round the next brick should be. So you end up building the tower like all rickety, and you just every time you try to engage with your hobby without monetizing it, you add a new brick to the tower, and eventually the tower falls, and you're just like, yeah, we're gonna have to monetize this fucker.
Oh, fuck. And then you play it again, but the thing is built.
So you play it again, but this time for money.
This time for money.
So-
This time it's a bet. It's
This
your
time you
house.
play it on stream.
Yes, it's on stream. It's for money, and if you lose, you can't pay your rent.
Oh god.
Stop!
See, it brings me it brings me joy because this is my life. Why?
I'm sorry to call you out, but you're a bartender with a stable job.
I was a dancer for 10 years.
Yeah, not right now.
I was a dancer and actor, and I'm doing it to my hobbies now. I'm doing it again.
The one thing I haven't been able to monetize is music, even though I'm in a band that has a record deal.
Hi,
no
hi,
fucking money
hi,
in music.
hi. As somebody who's also been in that situation before, it doesn't get better,
Doesn't get
especially right now. However,
No.
it does feel good to do it, and
Yeah.
that's
We're writing album 2 at the moment, and I'm like, this is fun. I can't monetize this.
Yes, you did witness me almost nearly physically destroying Zeke. But I would never do them harm directly. It's just Zeke knows there was a line crossed. I just went to the bathhouse. I just had a woman be like, "What's wrong with your neck? What do you do for a living? What causes your neck to literally feel like you're holding all your tension in your neck?" I'm like, "Oh, I make games." And they're like, what? How do you make money off of that?" I'm like, "Oh,
Shut up.
I
Shut
sell
up.
other people's games, and then I also make games, and then I sell people, and I draw inside people's games."
Yeah, how do you make money after that? I make shut up, that's how. Shut your friggin' mouth. Don't you
Sorry.
dare ask me that question. How
If you
dare
can't see my twitching, I am actually having a visual stress response to
Oh,
all of it.
Bean.
That's what I was trying to indicate this entire...
I got you. Yeah, anytime
fine.
someone
I forgot
asks
what
you
I
the
was gonna
question,
say.
"Oh, you make money off of that?" Be like, "Oh, you're a bitch?" Like, how dare you? Who asks that question? Is it profitable? You know what's profitable? Your fucking goddamn mouth. No, it's not. That's not profitable.
is why
That's making you lose money right now. Get away from me. Get out of my face. So,
Chris, did I cut something off and my brain went looped?
Oh no.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
why.
if anybody ever has that feeling. Where someone asks you that question, it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, are you my mom?" Get
Also,
away
it's
from me.
okay. I have therapy at 1, everybody.
It's going to be a good session. You're going to get your
Yeah.
money's worth.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I have the bartender thing. I work at a board game store, so I could talk about this stuff all the time. You okay, Bean?
You know that Shinji meme where he's just both of his heads are down? I've had 2 weeks. Everyone's had 2 weeks.
It's been a long 2 weeks. Family.
I'm good.
people.
I am
You're
good.
good?
I'm
You
good.
sure?
I'm
Okay.
good. I'm alive. Sorry
right.
about that, everybody. Sorry, Chris.
I think you're monetizing it just fine. You're doing great. I don't know what to tell you. I know your financial records. You're doing great.
Unrelated to all of that, I feel like another necessary game just to be made is trying your best to find hobbies that are
True.
outside of what you need, and just a kind of like it can be solo journaling. We're kind of on a stretch of that, but the concept of finding things outside of yourself to keep going, and finding something
Finding
that
hobbies that you haven't already tried and discarded.
yes, and
Yeah.
That's
finding
so fun.
and using them
Ooh.
to create momentum within
And you can
systems
reset-
that are unfamiliar and resetting yourself.
You can reset the Jenga tower then.
This game is horrible.
You're a curse.
I would buy this zine. I would pay money for this.
Psychic harm. I feel like we need to react on this stream where it just comes up with like just psychic harm and damage taken during this time. I have a new line.
Normally
It's
we get
not
off
a
topic.
veil. It's just a line.
Normally we get off topic with very different things. Normally it's like, Our off topics are like
I don't mean that jokingly.
we're talking about
Create a structural
Dune
line for
or pizza places. This time it was.
I had pizza last night.
All right, let's talk about your pizza. How was UK
I mean, it
pizza?
was only Pizza Hut, but it
alright.
was fine.
Yeah, deep dish. Good
I was
stuff.
really hungry, so it tasted really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it works.
But I do like the idea of I'm somebody that really hates toxic positivity, but what I've noticed is anytime I find myself in a creative block, the only way out of it is finding something brand new that I haven't tried before that I'm really, really bad at. And just kind of investing all my emotional weight into it because it's free falling. It's nice because you're like, I think I'm good at this because I don't know enough about it to fail properly.
And then you hit the point where you know a little bit about it and you're okay at it, but you hit a bit where it gets hard and suddenly it needs real work to get better.
Yeah.
And then you discard it.
And I feel like there's definitely and what's it called? God. Corpse, no. An exquisite corpse component. There can be a visual drawing element to this game where you build off of the elements of everything that you're working towards, and it almost creates your living body at the moment.
Oh yeah,
And
and you
so
could pass it off to other people because like sometimes you can't carry that hobby for a moment, and you could pass off your knowledge to someone else and come back to you later.
and how that contributes to the weight. Because I like the structural idea of the Jenga tower, but I'm also thinking of the integrity component of building off each other and allowing other people's hobbies and interests to inform your ability to sustain yourself in something that has burnt you out.
Yeah, I guess this is Burnout the game,
And you stop.
But not the racing game.
not the race out. Well, you're
Different
right.
kind
there's
of
a
Burnout.
Yeah, different
Alright.
Burnout. I actually like that component. Yeah, I think there's also part of it is like part of it is learning and creating mechanics within the game. We're turning self-care into a game, I guess, our own self-care into a game. Of like how to refresh yourself as well and save yourself in those sort of situations.
Unrelated to that, John, I'm not slapping Zeke.
Yeah. I've done stage combat. I can take a slap.
Just angularly, there's not.
Yeah, it's difficult. You want me to turn?
Also, no, nobody
fine.
needs that. You don't need that. Nobody needs to be slapped.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So we've definitely taken up a lot of Chris's time.
Yes, thank you for joining us, Chris.
Hopefully
I
you
have-
haven't stressed us
I
out.
have
too
endless
much.
time. It's fine.
Yeah,
The
I guess
endless
that
time.
that's the passageway through small Victorian children never closes.
Despite
Never.
despite stepping on the corpse of what is our lives in the last few minutes. I hope you've had
Sorry
a
about
lovely. It's fine. I didn't realize I would have such a strong physical reaction.
Just a visceral
Like,
negative
no,
response.
and it's not even like sometimes you don't know. And
No.
then it happens to you and you're like, why is my body so bad right now?
Why am I seeing stars?
No, but I'm fine, everybody. And I hope you're fine, Chris, and I hope you had a lovely
am.
time. And I'm sorry, Blue Zoles, you're at school. That's not on me. But the alternative, Blue Zoles, is homeschooling. And do you really want to deal with homeschooling? No.
No. Although that said, cool on you, watching a stream at school. Nice. Yeah, you're a cool kid.
Stay in school, but
Please
don't
stay in school.
pay attention to any of
Yeah,
that shit.
watch our. Yeah, stay in school, but just watch the streams during.
Do pay attention. in
Please.
school.
Or if you were like me in high school, you don't really have to.
Yes, there's this children that sometimes pop up, Chris, and we're just like, oh, these are the kids that are in my games. So I have to be like, pay attention. Because I run children's games for fun. Like that's where I'm like, how do I relieve myself from what I do for a living? It's like, oh, play games with kids.
Yeah, I just wrote plays.
Dude,
during
no, it
school.
really works.
Kids are
really
the best
well.
gamers.
They are.
Yeah.
They're way
Kids are the
better
best.
than my creepy
are.
adult players.
Yeah,
They're way better than adults.
they don't make it weird.
Y'all are weird
No.
creeps.
They make it fun.
Yeah.
They go to fun places and do crazy shit.
Oh God, I'm sorry that happened to you once.
What?
Some
Oh,
people turn out fine when they're homeschooled. Nothing's wrong with homeschooling.
Yeah.
But in your case, I'm so sorry. Sorry. I'm talking to Chad.
Fuck.
I'm sorry. I'm so
Spiked
embarrassed
a
by
parental,
me.
ball. Just spiked it in a kid's face.
No, I'm so sorry. I am fading out in some ways.
Yes,
to both of
we
you.
are
I
fading. Thank you
apologize.
for joining us for Homebrew. It's a weekly TTRPG news talk show where, at times, in this case, 3 people with ADHD talk about TTRPGs, and anytime we get off topic, we have to homebrew our way back on.
Only.
This time, we created Vic's existential angst into a...
No, Vic and Chris.
Of course. Yes.
It was both of us. You
Yeah.
were the one having fun driving, and Chris is like, I'll go into that lane too. And I'm like, don't go into the lane, don't go into the lane. And both of you were like,
Yeah! Yeah! I can monetize my own fears. This is a problem.
You know what? You know how people say you can't trigger yourself? They're not right.
They're not.
They're wrong.
right.
That
They're
happened
absolutely
today.
wrong.
Yeah. Please, if you can, it's less than 48 hours to back down in Yongardy, Chris's solo-troika adventure. Quickly, what is different in the systems? Do you have like can you give me in less than 5 minutes the difference in the systems between regular troika and your version?
Yeah, I mean, no GM, so
No GM, of course.
you do all of it yourself. It's a fixed. It's on rails. I'm sorry, it's a fixed path. And that's it. That's the
Great.
difference.
Awesome.
Basically,
Then it's what an exciting game. I'm so excited to give it a shot and play it later when it's
Yeah,
fully
there's a
released.
Preview section on my itch page.
Yes,
You
and
can
there's
play.
a digital preview version, so even if you don't want to deal with keeping notes, it'll keep notes for you.
Can you also plug their edge page?
I learned Twine just to make it.
Yes.
Ah, great. Twine's
Twine.
helpful.
Twine's fun.
I always put it on my there's a few things that I know how to use that I'll put on resumes when I'm feeling really sad and considering, non-analog games as full-time careers. And I always plug what kind of engines I know how to use into that what are your skills section. It doesn't matter because they're like, oh, you're an analog designer. But still,
And-
it helps with the fear.
Oh, sorry. You asked me. I thought you were done, and then you said still. and
Feel
then
better.
I
You
was
should
behind.
still hire me.
Fail Better didn't hire me either.
Why didn't they
Damn.
hire us? Oh, you also
Feel better.
applied for the same role, I
I-
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have
What the
hired
hell?
us
They didn't
both.
hire me.
Yeah.
I hope that whoever they hired is very happy.
Yeah.
I do too.
Wow.
Like that.
Wow. That was the look you gave was so
No,
dark.
no. It's
Careful. He'll possess
Chris,
you.
I'm
They'll
sorry
possess
that
you
it's
and
happened
ooze through your
twice.
pores.
But their email back for me, and it's not this is a positive thing for context. They sound such
I
a
had a good
nice
email from
reply. Yeah, I really
very
appreciated
nice
the
reply.
way they're like they even highlighted a lot of things. I'm like, oh, that makes me feel as though you at least thought about
Yeah,
it
they said,
for a second.
They said something about like my skill set was really interesting, and I was like, yeah, cool, all right.
Great,
I've
they're
been
like-
a writer for 20 years. I can take a rejection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really appreciated it because they were like, oh, we really enjoyed this one piece of. I was like, oh,
You actually read it.
thanks. You actually didn't just look at the. You looked at my stuff. Fantastic. And I really
Yeah, honestly,
appreciate them for that.
they-
Sure, they
they
should have hired
helped
us.
They helped us fail better, I guess.
I guess
Yeah.
This is
Wow,
why
they
they
live
should
up to their
hire
name.
me. This is
Yeah.
what I bring to the team.
And if you also would like to give,
we should clip that
Chris.
as our audition.
if you'd like to give Chris even more money, here's a link to their itch.io page. You can find stuff like Foop, Treasures of the Troll King,
Hit me with that.
and I'm sorry,
Like a real-
the God of Many Faces. Sorry, I couldn't remember the name of this one. And it was also written in metal font, so it took me a minute to read.
Get my RPG advent calendar.
Ooh,
And then we have
The
this
Wretched,
version.
which I'm doing an actual play on Twitter. Please take a look at that. I think it sounds pretty cool. It's the first thing I've released that's audio and produced ever. So
damaged myself too much today.
feedback would be useful. I think the character I made is a dick. I didn't realize how bad they were until I re-listened back to it later, and I was like, "Ooh, wow! I'm not sure I like this
That's
person."
fine because awful things are going to happen to them.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be bad for them.
Yeah, that
yeah.
doesn't seem like a good time.
Yeah.
Also, like, just to comment in chat for a 2nd,
Uh-huh.
you guys feeling Chris and I's pain isn't a positive thing. Empathy through pain is not. Everyone being harmed is
suffer.
not a good harm.
Chris, thank you again for joining us. Are you exiting through the small child, or are you just going to try to find another way out?
I'll find another way out.
You
Yeah.
sure?
Jeez.
Don't stay too long.
I mean,
if you
that
could stay here
child's
too
been
long, you
through
might get
enough,
stuck here. I mean,
so
they are a hollow husk now that'll forever
maybe
be a
I'll find
robot.
a dog or something.
A dog? Alright, that's fine. The dog's mouths are portals.
well, there we
Next,
go.
Yeah.
Chris, next time we come on, I'll be here in the beginning where we create lines and veils of what we know.
Yeah. I asked for talks and not
Yeah.
talks. I did a line and veil.
Yeah,
Sadly,
we did Lines and Veils.
Yeah.
And I went, I don't know. Now I know.
now we know.
Veil better.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you again, once again, and thank you for joining us for Homebrew. Next week we'll be joined by another special guest. Follow us on Twitter to find out who that will be. They'll also possibly be revealed Scooby-Doo style.
Is Dicebreaker a hint?
Dicebreaker could be a hint. Perhaps
Yeah.
they write occasionally for Dicebreaker. Ooh, maybe even Polygon.
Maybe.
Ooh, fancy.
Ooh.
Oh, well, join us then. Thank you so much
Are
again,
you leading
guys.
us on a merry chase?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, chase us through the hallways.
Y'all didn't do anything that we weren't going to already do to ourselves. Calm down.
Yeah, chase us through the hallways. We'll lead you to a dog. Come on, chase us. Come on, let's go. Come on, follow us. Hee. Woo.
I love that
Oh,
Chris
thanks
and I
for
just made
watching.
the exact same facial
Woo.
response.
Bye. Bye, guys. Woo. Thanks for watching. Wow. Woo. Thanks for chasing me.